Hi and welcome back. I'm Caroline Best of the Tao of Horsemanship and Everything Horses and More YouTube channel and weekly video library. And you all know who this is, my big buddy Zor. This month we are going to be producing videos each week for our theme, which is Ride Smart, Ride Naturally, and Ride Well. And this week, part 2, we're going to be discussing mindfulness. I know, you just can't help but be in the picture, Bubba. Come here, love. Come here, sweetie. In last week's learning, part 1 of this month's theme, we discussed the basics of what we need to know to ride well. To ride smart, intelligently, to ride naturally, and to ride well. So today I'll be discussing and demonstrating with Zor the next level of learning how to ride well, and that's becoming a mindful rider. And so each week I'm staggering levels or phases to learning how to ride well. And you got to know the basics. Last week we went through that, the principles, the purpose. Today we're going to be talking about the next level to riding well, mindfulness. And this comes before you even learn the mechanics or the technique. So this month I'm dedicating videos each week to the principles and building blocks, the ABCs of riding smart, riding naturally, and riding well. I'll be selecting one major perspective each week and focusing on what's important to our confidence as a rider so we can create positive learning experiences with our riding partners, our horse. For today's video, Training Success in 5 minutes or less, in our first principle, we will be focusing on the mindfulness of riding well. The mindfulness of riding and how being tuned in and aware can set us up for confidence and success. Mindfulness is a quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. It's also called a mental state achieved by focusing on one's awareness on the present moment, awareness of what's going on around us and within us, how we feel, our thoughts, and our bodily sensations, especially when we're riding. So while I'm talking into the camera, I'm very aware of what I hear around me between the wind and the beautiful songbirds. You guys can hear those too. I can also, in my peripheral vision, take in how my horse is responding to our environment. So I'm tuning in through all of my senses. That's really important to becoming mindful. Get out of your head, get into your intuitive, your sensory aware, sensory processing. So mindful riding is a practice. Just like anything that we want to be really good at, we have to practice it until it becomes a habit. So the following areas will help you become a mindful rider, and in this order. Number 1 is quieting the mind. Number 2, becoming attuned, tuned in. Number 3, listening. And number 4, developing your feel of and your feel for your horse. And specifically as a rider, through your aids, if you were working on the ground, what would you be feeling through the rope in your hands? What would you be seeing and feeling energetically and seeing when you're watching your horse? So you're tuning into your senses that way. But because this month is dedicated to riding, it's going to be what you feel through your body when you are connected to your horse, your riding partner. The late great master of classical riding, Nuno Oliveira, spoke often about mindfulness. There's 2 great quotes of his. Working with horses provides constant reminders that one's responsibility is mindful attention to one's own body in relation to their sensitivity, to the signs that manifest as a consequence of the relationship between the two of you. I know that's a bit wordy, and I'll talk a little bit about what that means exactly. And the second great quote I love about him, the good rider is, he who, on seeing the resistance rise up in the horse, knows how to return to the beginning, to the preparatory exercises, until he has obtained the flexibility and the relaxation necessary to start the exercises he is trying to teach. Wow. These are profound. especially when we are so often or too often taught nothing but the mechanics of riding. We're never taught feel or mindfulness. And while feel in horsemanship can be a very esoteric conversation, it's something that is difficult to make tangible, applicable, so to speak. Nuno did an amazing job of teaching his students how to find that feel. And you can't find it until you're mindful, until you're thinking of it, until you are becoming aware of it, looking for it, asking questions about it, and most of all, paying attention to this amazing partner we have, this amazing sentient species, the horse. I was an ardent student of Nuno's teachings for many years and took his writings to heart. I studied them year after year until I felt what he was teaching. One of his messages was listening to the horse, how the horse responds to you, your body, your aids. He believed the horse was smarter and most honest and would always tell you the truth of who you are as a rider if you were willing to listen. And that's how he taught. That's how I want to teach. That's how I believe I teach. A happy, joyful horse will show you his willingness to work through his eagerness to please you. So a happy, joyful horse will show you his willingness to work with you through his eagerness to please you, the ease in which he is guided, and his level of relaxation. So what I mean by that is, how easy is it for you to guide your horse? Not make them, guide them. And when you are guiding, is there relaxation? Or is there tension? So often we're never taught to be aware of any of this. And we, again, go to the mechanics and we end up making and forcing our horses. And over time, you're going to destroy them. If you don't destroy them emotionally and mentally, you're going to destroy them physically. Because a horse should not be ridden unless they have a level of mental and physical relaxation in their body. Period. First and foremost. Period. Because if you are riding and developing resistance and brace and defensiveness, think of all that tension. I know, I unfortunately have the personal experience of trying to figure all of this out when I got back into horses and not having Nuno alive and as my mentor at the time. And every mentor that I sought would never explain it the way he did in his writings. And that's why I studied him so seriously, because I knew that two of my horses had tremendous defensiveness and brace and resistance. And no matter what clinic I took them to, it didn't get any better. It just got worse. And both of them have serious, crippling arthritis in their later years, and they shouldn't. And while I could blame myself and take tremendous responsibility, I did the best I could. I only knew what I knew back then. The point is, though, that I never stopped searching for those answers, and I'm giving them to you now so you don't make the same mistakes. One of Nuno's apprentices, Bettina Drummond, stated, and she was an ardent student of his for a long time, in order for the innate qualities of joy and piquancy to emerge in the horse, the rider's mind must be quieted. Like the great Buddhist masters, Nuno's teachings were non-linear. It wasn't about getting the movement right or even the point of balance in your horse. It was getting so that your imbalances didn't throw the whole end result out of whack. The first step in riding was quietness of mind and receptiveness to the horse. Receptiveness to the horse. The technical components were of secondary concern. Their mastery, to a significant extent, was an extension of a mental disposition. Wow, this is really deep. What this meant is focus on you. Get yourself where you need to be, and the horse will fall into place. I use this reflection often in my teachings, telling my students to stop focusing on their horse and micromanaging them. Even if you don't understand why your horse is doing what they're doing, focus on becoming what you need to be first. This is leadership, and what makes all the difference between really good horsemanship and mechanics, mediocre horsemanship. Too often riding emphasizes the mechanics, the working parts of the whole, and fails to teach mindfulness, the ability to consider the horse as a sentient being, a riding partner who has needs, opinions, likes and dislikes. And sorry guys, we need to figure those out. And each horse is an individual with his own individual needs, opinions, likes and dislikes. While it's important as a rider to understand mechanics and the objective, the end result, where you're headed, your destination, we can't ignore how both we and the learning process, us and the learning process, affects our horse's mind, emotions, and body. This learning process is what I call the mind-body connection, or connected learning, and is achieved through mindfulness, being aware of how we affect our horse's mental, emotional, and physical well-being. And that's what I'm talking about. I thank God I had the wherewithal all those years ago to be mindful that what I was learning from other top professionals in dressage, reining, natural horsemanship wasn't working for those particular quarter horses. It wasn't working. I just step back and really pay attention and listen and explore. Ask a lot of questions that they couldn't answer, but questions that I found in these books and in these great writings of the masters. In addition, mindfulness organically leads to two-way communication between rider and horse. If the rider is listening, there will be a dialogue. Your horse will be willing to tell you exactly what's going on and whether it works or not for them. Now, don't get me wrong. We all need to go to school, and we all need to learn our ABCs, including the horse. It's how you go about it. And that's going to be our next theme for next week. How you go about it, the approach. So if the rider is skilled, they'll know how to discuss what they are wanting to achieve with their horse and be in a better or best position to guide their horse instead of fighting or forcing them. In the end, riding smart, riding naturally and well has everything to do with developing trust, confidence, relaxation between rider and horse. You woke up, buddy. He's fallen asleep. This is what creates flow. Relaxation, mutual enjoyment, deep and rewarding connection and relationship, and again, open dialogue, two-way communication. I love you too, buddy. It doesn't get much better than this when your horse pushes you in for a hug because he enjoys how this feels. You want to take this to riding. In a minute, when I get on Zor, we're going to give you a specific exercise. And I think it's going to be my walk transition to trot. And Zor is lazy, out of shape. We never train or school anymore. And so I'm going to show you and talk to you out loud and openly about how I'm going to motivate Zor and work with him and guide him into a couple of simple but very nicely executed. I am going to be particular. I don't want a lazy, unbalanced walk or trot where he's tripping or falling. I want him to join me. Okay, I want him to join me in my energy, join me in my intention, join me in my body. So while this video is certainly not going to teach you how to do all of that, I just want to show you what it's like to be in a position when you are very mindful. It's not just considering your horse's perspective all the time. It's also the mindfulness is being really aware of what is going on and when it's not working. What do you do when it's not working? You got to have the tools. And that's where your basics or your foundation comes in. You got to have the tools, or you're not going to know what to do. So remember, I leave you with this. Make every moment with your horse purposeful and teachable, or at least an open dialogue. And before we sign off, what can you do with your horse that, one, creates training success in 5 minutes or less, and two, creates or develops a foundation of knowledge and understanding, skill, and partnership between the two of you, and four, both of you. If you would like to see the full version video, please subscribe to my Everything Horses and More video library. Remember, this is just a snippet, and we will be releasing our beginner rider course this month. So if you'd like to learn more about riding in mind and body, bitless, and how to become confident and balanced naturally in a bareback pad, sign up for the course. And if you'd like to learn everything, sign up for the Mastery Membership Riding Foundation program, because that's where I'll teach you everything I'm talking about today. Alrighty, let's go, buddy. So let's throw our reins over everything. You guys get to watch everything. So I'm going to have a dialogue with him. And come on, Baba. Meet me where my energy is. All right, so you guys get to watch everything, like I said, because everything's an opportunity for all of this to work together. Come on. Match my energy, boo. And come get Mama. That's not getting Mama. Come on. Good boy. What? What you guys say, Baba? I'm getting on. Come on. Come get Mom. Good boy. Ah, it doesn't get much better than that. I'm getting on. Oh, okay. I'm not very strong with my left shoulder. So, and he's tall. So an appropriate way of getting on would be this. And then just flip yourself around. Not too bad. There we go. Thank you, buddy. All right. Everything is an opportunity to have a conversation with your horse, to be connected. Everything is an opportunity. We don't just connect when we go to work. We're always connected. Always. So why do I have my crop? I have it as an extra aid to tune Zor into my quiet aids, which are going to be my mind and my body. So anytime in my teaching, anytime, and this is also in the beginner rider course, anytime you've got to add an aid that is in addition to you being the first aid, your body, they're just additional aids. And the crop is the last aid, the loudest one that I will use. And so your body is the first, your mind is the first aid. Okay, let's get that straight. Your focus, your intention, you being clear, that's number one. Second is my seat. And then, of course, the influence of my weight aid. And the third would be, I'm going to add a little bit of cluck cluck to tune him in to me. And if that doesn't work, a couple of pop, 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 pops. Just to say, hey, tune into me. So I don't have to keep using these louder aids. And we have a really lazy, dominant horse here who's also really out of shape. It's a bit warm and very food oriented. A lot of people do. A lot of people do. So how do you work with a horse like that? How do you motivate him? Positive reinforcement is key. I'm going to always reward his try. And then I'm going to build it so that I only reward when he's really trying. Or he'll get lazy there too. We all get in our comfort spots. So let's back him up. I'm going to actually back him up, and you'll see all this is in my beginner rider course. We are going to turn to our right and track to our left. So we're going to use the rail. Come on, Biggs. And everything needs to be, everything meaning his movement and his level of response at his level of education needs to be with energy.